Hi, my name is Ariza Flores, and today I will be talking and discussing a film that I watched. And it is films that were suggested by Professor Rodriguez, communications class. So without further ado, I'm going to share the screen. All right, so throughout this semester within Professor Rodriguez communications class, I learned a great deal about culture differences and how people are influenced by their surroundings, whether it be because of changes or influential upbringings. Regardless, it all coincides due to life, society development, and occupational obligations. For this presentation, I asked to choose a film from a list that Professor Rodriguez provided. The list consisted of films relating to characters undergoing some sort of intercultural scenarios. The movie that I chose for my intercultural film analysis is Lost in Translation. I want to compare and contrast how the director of the film, Sofia Coppola, delivers situations and scenarios the protagonists undergo due to not only the circumstances caused by travel, but brought upon by culture. I won't go through full details of the film, but I'm going to reveal these examples that coincide well with what I'm going to be talking about. Again, that is dealing with emotions moving to a new country, as well as adjustment modules. And we'll get more into that, what that means. So to begin, the film starts off with both protagonists. Bob Harris is who I'll introduce first, which is played by Bill Murray. He's waking up from the sounds of the illuminating city lights of Tokyo. Harris seems to be dealing with the case of jet lag and is on his way in a taxi to his destination. Harris seems to be captivated by the city lights of Tokyo. He seems to be undergoing some sort of culture shock as well. He is surprised to see a commercialized photo of himself advertising of what appears to be a brand of alcohol. When he arrives at the hotel, he meets co-worker and translator Ms. Kawasaki and her crew. They give him a warm welcome with gifts, and there seems to be a light awkwardness in the air due to communications and language barrier. It is a bit hard to tell if Harris is leaning towards the U-shape or W curve adjustment module at this time. The U-curve or W-shape adjustment modules are terms to describe people adapting to new culture and environments. Shortly, the viewer is introduced to Charlotte. This protagonist is played by Scarlett Johansson. Charlotte looks to be experiencing the first signs that some undergo when dealing with adapting to a new environment, and that is called the W shape. To elaborate more on these terms, the W shape adjustment module consists of 7 stages. They are classified as follows: the honeymoon, hostility, humorous, in sync, ambivalence, reentry, culture shock, and resocialization stages. And the U-curve adjustment modules have 3 categories, and those are initial adjustments, crisis, and 3, regained adjustment. Charlotte is on a business trip with her husband. Charlotte seems to be undergoing emotions of uncertainty because, for one, she is occupied with work and has quite a lot of free time. Charlotte is not only dealing with adaptability of her new surroundings, but seems to be struggling with identity and not having a place of familiarity. She adventures into the city to try and find herself, but to only lose herself even more. Harris is undergoing his own experiences with identity in a new culture. He is a celebrity on work for advertising a brand of alcohol. He is recognized by many, but he seems to carry a feeling of loneliness similar to that of Charlotte's. Both feel the language barrier because they cannot speak Japanese. Both protagonists are from America as well. The information is gathered that I'm using from the book Understanding Intercultural Communications by Team Tomei. It gives us statistical information of studies for what is found with what these two are experiencing. And that's why I'm going to be talking and using these terms, the W shape and the U curve adjustment modules. So to carry onward, as the film continues, Harris continues to show more symptoms of the W shape adjustment module when undergoing his second photo shoot. Harris becomes lightly hostile and wants to catch a plane out of Tokyo, but his agent advises Harris that it is a bad idea for future business opportunities. Harris has been invited to an event by a man who has a high level of social status in Japan. Harris compares this man as being the Johnny Carson of Japan. Again, Harris is showing issues with identity. On film, he is an actor who performs his own stunts, but in reality, he wants to just be left alone. When both protagonists are undergoing, at this time, they're undergoing what is called conscious incompetence. And that is when one undergoes a semi-awareness stage in which awareness of incompetence undergoes when communicating. So they're both aware of their culture differences, and they're both aware that they're in another culture and they can't speak the language. So thus equalizing, or the aftermath of it all comes to be awkward situations. So how they met. Harris and Charlotte both acknowledged each other in the hotel elevator one morning. Both Harris and Charlotte had been dealing with identity issues prior to. And while staying in Japan, they both had been feeling the definitions of the W shape and U curve adjustment modules. Harris and Charlotte are acquainted at the hotel bar one evening because both are unable to sleep. Later in the film, Charlotte invites Harry out with some friends. Charlotte has a lot of time because her husband ends up leaving on a business trip for a few days and decides to meet up with old friends and keeps running into Harris around the hotel, and they become good friends, and she invites him out. She thinks it'd be a lot of fun. Harris and Charlotte were drawn to each other because of the feeling of they both shared, which is being outcasted, unable to be in tune with the culture of Japan. And they confide in each other to help them seek comfort with their identity. And again, by identity, I do mean culture. Together, Harris and Charlotte are unable to share, are able to share the humorous chapter of adjustment module of the W shape. Harris and Charlotte undergo some ambivalence situations as well, with uncertainty of how much longer they can stay in Tokyo. But together, they form that bond, that relationship that helped them to appreciate and understand not only the beauty in their culture, but what the culture of Tokyo brought to them. It seems like they both had an energy to them, that they both had an apathetic and depressed feeling. In the beginning of the films, they have a lot of scenery when they're both staring out the window and they're both having giving the viewer a feeling of loneliness and uncertainty. And throughout the film, they start to share this together, and a new sides of their character is sprouted through understanding that they are in a different place, but through that, they end up finding characters that I believe they didn't have or notice within themselves. So by comforting each other and not feeling so alone anymore, they acknowledge a world that's different than their own, but they do find the beauty within that. And although the movie doesn't fully touch base on the W shape or the U curve adjustment module, it does do a good job at capturing visual moments of how it feels to be in a beautiful world that is unknown. The film shows the viewer that being in a foreign land can help you view life retrospectively, and the outcome can be positive. It's all about how one perceives the story. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen. And that is it for my presentation. You all take care and wishing you all good things. Bye-bye.